Well, I just heard the UPS truck drive away. Let's see what's outside. Aha! It is a box. And it says Motion RC Freewing. I bet this is the long-awaited Freewing 90mm T-45. Yes, finally it has arrived. Okay, folks, yes, it's confirmed this is the Freewing T-45 that has arrived at my door. We will now do the unboxing. I will take everything out of the box and lay it out so that everyone can see it, and I can check out all the parts to make sure everything's there and intact. And at the front door of JT Clark's home, looks like there's another T-45 box. Is that it, Tom? All right, well, let's get to building. Well, this is what the internal box looks like inside the packaging box. It's a very nice package setup. It does give a description of the stats for the standard version versus the deluxe version. It says it'll do 165 kilometers an hour on the standard version and 185 kilometers per hour on the deluxe version. I know that at Motion we all are getting the standard version. For those that want to upgrade to the end runner, I believe that's what you would get. I know there are a great many guys that did upgrade or did elect to get the kit so they can put their own systems in it all the way up to 8S. I think some even talking about doing 10S. All right, pilots, I have just about completed my build of the Freewing 90mm T-45. Unfortunately, did not come without issues. Most of them very slight, but there was just one I have to talk about that I did have to get some help with. So I'm waiting help there, but you can see here that one of my small concerns is how dirty my plane came. You can see there on the edge of the bottom fin there how dirty that is. This plane was handled quite a bit, looks like, in the factory, either by dirty hands or it was used somehow. I don't think it was flown or anything like that, but I think it was handled quite a bit. And I do have quite a few dirty spots on this plane. It's not that big of a deal. I can take soap and water and clean those off, but just coming that dirty was just a little frustrating. But you can see here that there's a lot of water, a lot of dirty water spots there on the bottom of the fuselage, and the base of the gear is a little dirty. Has an edge here where you can see it's got dinged up. But you know, these things are normal sometimes, but when you wait this long, you think they're getting things right, and it comes looking like this, which I'm sure everybody's gonna look like this, but I guess mine got handled somehow. Not that big of a deal, I can clean it up, but just wanted to point those things out. So if you get that, don't get frustrated, just clean it up. But the biggest issue I've had is that I cannot get the ESC to arm. I have contacted Motion and just waiting a response there. Worked on that quite a bit. Quite a few hours and can't figure it out. I've had a lot of my buddies on RC groups help me out with some different issues, and I've narrowed down a lot of things. And I think I have narrowed it down to the fact that there's something wrong internally. So we'll get that figured out and hopefully get this thing completed and get us up in the air. But overall, very nice jet. Just wanted to point out a few things so when you start building, to be on the lookout for these things. Okay, so finally figured out why the ESC would not arm. It turns out that the bullet plugs for the motor to ESC wires were not making great contact. After removing everything and plugging it back in, voila, it worked. So I would advise that everyone at least check those wires to make sure that they're making great contact, but also I'm going to shrink wrap those together, or maybe just even tape them together so they don't come apart and fly. That would be disastrous. So anyway, just a quick update on what that issue was. So be sure to check everything out. I believe that after everything we've seen on RC groups about some of the ones that have had issues, I would advise that we go over this plane with a fine-tooth comb just to make sure that everything is intact. Now on another front, I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but on mine it is definitely an issue. And I hate to sound like this plane is a problem. It's just this is definitely something you want to check out when you get this plane. It is a fantastically looking, beautiful plane. So I don't want to make it sound like this plane is not a great plane, because I'm sure it will be, but there are some things you do have to do to it. You notice here on the rudder that it is scraping. right there. So what I'm gonna have to do is take something like my sandbar here and just kind of scrape that off and take some of that off so that this closes. So right now it is getting hung up and it's catching on the servo. So be sure to check that out as well. Another area that you might want to check, and I actually thought about this, I remember reading on RC Groups about one of the pilots who said that his flaps were a little loose. So I went to check mine and did discover that this one here is quite loose. When you flip it over right side up, this does drop all the way back, and I've tried to adjust it here with the linkage, but that did not help. So what I noticed is that what's happening is that the servo itself is moving. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the servo is not actually planted in there real well. It moves from side to side, and that's what's actually making that move. So of course there is a plate that goes on top of this that screws it down, but it doesn't hold it tight. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some hot glue and probably glue that in there so that it doesn't move as much, and see if I can get that to tighten up. But anyway, you see that play that will cause a problem when you're trying to trim your plane out, because that will be moving around. This will be down, which will start to act like an aileron. So anyway, be sure to check out those areas as well on both your flaps. On the other side, that one's actually pretty tight, so that one is not moving as much at all. It's just this left wing that is actually doing it. So anyway, just wanted to point that out to you, so be sure to check that out. Okay, just a few other areas to note thus far is that on my plane as well as on JT Clark's, we noticed a few areas that had glue missing between the foam, and you see one there. This is actually with the motor cover off. You can see a gap there, right there. I'm gonna have to glue that. And then on JT Clark's plane, his was separated right here. See that spot right there? His had no glue inside there at all. So you can see straight through there, and you could actually pull it apart. So there was absolutely no glue in between there. I also see a few other spots where you can see there's gaps in there, so I'm going to have to go in and fill those in. But those things can be crucial later on, so be sure to check all those things as well. Okay, so moving right along, just wanted to point out another small detail that you want to pay attention to. It's not really that big of a deal, but I know cosmetically some people are concerned about it. And that is that the cockpit itself, where that pin, the locking mechanism, goes into the canopy, makes it very loose, and it's because of that little part right there where the hole is for the pin to go in. It's actually open, so I think putting a small piece of foam or something in there to close that off will help that out. However, I now have everything inside of mine. I have my battery, my wiring, everything inside, and so when I close it now, I actually don't have an issue. I can close it up, and now mine's tight, but without it, this moves back and forth the length of that hole that you see in there. But you can also see there is a gap in there. So I've seen where some are saying that they are having an issue, small issue with that canopy not fitting snug. But it's not really that big of a deal. But to just be aware, if you want to cosmetically make that look better, that you can. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out to you. But moving right along. All right, pilots, just want to show you the end of my build here. I think I'm just about done. Next step is going to be to take it out for a spin to get the trim set for the steering. So I'll do a run-up. But I wanted to point out some things here that are very, very, very nice. You can see here in the cockpit that there is a nice lighting system built in there, and I just love this. It's lighting up the entire cockpit there. Just about in the front. Really nice feature there. If you remember, if some of you saw Alpha's flight, he actually placed a Mobius camera right there with a view of the flight going that direction. It was very nice, so I'll probably be doing that at some point too. But some other things to note are that on the rear, I did get that rudder fixed. As you can see, I did have to do some trim there. Did some carving in there, some sanding down there to get that to let go of the rudder. Still scrapes just a little bit. I don't want to go down too much, but barely touches it. But that's going to work out just fine. You see there the air brakes. I have elected not to connect the air brakes just yet until I get an 8-channel receiver, because I could not get the flaps and the slats to work together. So I'm having to use 2 different channels for that, so I'm out of channels. So when I get a get another 8-channel radio, I will hook up the air brake. So that's a very nice feature. You see there the tail hook, which I love that. I think some are talking about possibly putting a server on there to have that activate. I'd be anxious to see that if you do get that done. Next feature will be the slats. You can see here how they operate, but mine did have a couple of dings in it. You can see 2 dings there in the white section, and then on the red section over here, another couple of dings. Did not come clean. My buddy JT Clark has had the same thing, but here are the slats in operation. You can see they come out very, very, very slow and very scale-like, so very nice feature there. I can't wait to see those in action. And then, of course, on the retracts, you see here that the retracts are very nice. I'll deploy those for you here. And you see out come the doors, then the gear, and that exciting looking light there. Put on your sunshades. But anyway, I just wanted to point those things out because I think we'll all enjoy this once we get it all built, get it cleaned up and get built. Overall, this is an extremely nice jet. I am pleased with it. Just think that quality control there, Freewing needs to do some cleanup work there to make sure that these come out a little cleaner. Mine was pretty dirty, and some things that need to be done to clean this up so that we don't have to do so much work to it. And again, it's just minor things, but once you get it going, you see just like any other jet. I think if we checked our other jets too, we might find things as well, or other planes, we might find things as well. But this one didn't come out without any issues. But overall, beautiful plane. Can't wait to get it up in the air. Let's all enjoy. Okay, just another thought that I wanted to bring up. I know a lot of guys have a lot of questions and suggestions and different opinions about CG, what we've noticed lately. But just want to point out what the manual states. It does say that the CG is ideal right here, which is 63 millimeters behind the ducts up top there, and it actually puts it right in the middle of the light there. So if you look here, right here, 63 millimeters is from here going back to the center of the light. So that is exactly 63 millimeters right there. So that also puts it right here on that line there. On both sides is right there on that line right there. So mine balanced out perfectly with that setting. And as you know, you can always balance your CG by moving your battery. My battery balances the plane out just perfectly, being all the way back, and I mean all the way back on that back wall back there, balanced out perfectly. And that is with a 5000 6S 65 amp or 70 amp, I believe, battery. So that actually worked out perfectly. But of course, we won't know that until we get in the air and make our adjustments. We just wanted to point that out, that is how the CG worked out. If anybody has anything different, please let us know how yours worked out. I'm sure those that are putting in different motors are going to find a different CG point. Well, the point doesn't change, but where you balance it out is going to be different as far as the battery and things like that. So those with a heavier motor in the back might have to move this battery forward just a little bit more to balance it out some. So anyway, just wanted to note that, and let's go fly this plane and have a great time.